Hi, and welcome to Anne-Marie's Workshop. My name is Anne-Marie, and I love to make things with joy. If you like to make things with joy, you have found the right place. Please like, subscribe, and share. Now, I hope you're having a good time thinking of different ideas for our Sew Reversible challenge. I hope you have figured out whatever you'd like to make. Just join in on the fun and make sure you post to Instagram at Anne-Marie's Workshop. All right, if you need more information about my challenge, it will be in the description box. Now today, I am doing a sew along for that wonderful pattern, that wonderful skirt that I've made. This would be my third time, and it is McCalls 7129. And I usually make this version. I have not made this version yet, but it's usually this version. As you can see, they already suggest that the reversibility with this version. Now, you are also free to use whatever version wrap skirt that you have. You might be a little bit challenged if you have ruffles on yours or gathers on yours, but if it's a standard wrap skirt, these techniques, you can adapt it. So now this pattern only had 4 pieces: the front, the back, the pocket, and the waistband. So I'm not showing you cutting those out because you can either use the same pattern or you can use one pattern of your own. You are going to cut out all the pieces of the wrap skirt in whatever fabric that you have bought and then the contrasting fabric. So in essence, you are making 2 wrap skirts that you are going to put together as one. Now that's the heart of reversibility. Now, if you have any feelings of discomfort or you're not sure exactly how to go about that, you can follow along with me, as well as you can check out my video on 10 hacks that you can use when making reversible clothes. I will explain each technique in this video that we are doing with this skirt, but in case you want to see all the hacks that I know, and I've learned a few since I started this challenge, you can go over to that video and check them out there. So let's get started. First of all, let's do a time warp and go back to a couple of days in the morning. Please pardon my night clothes. Another morning in the workshop. And so I'm still working on my reversible skirt, and I have stitched them at the side. And if you notice, you can see through this material, it is very, very light. So when it shows on the black side, the fabric on the back will give it an opaque visage, and then, but it'll be light. It won't make people extra hot. All right, and if you can see also, one pocket on one side, because when I start stitching the bold graphic, that pocket is on the other side. So therefore you don't have double bulk on both sides. It does reduce you to 1 pocket per one side of the skirt, but I've used my extra big pocket that my cell phone fits in. Now at this stage, I've already added my bias tape to the bottom. I chose a black satin, mostly because the black cotton was out, but I don't mind the black satin. This is a kind of fancy skirt. Now I've already sewed this side of the skirt together, and after washing this fabric, supposed to be Ankara, it feels exactly like some material that I recently bought from Temu, and it was 50% spandex, 30% polyester, and 20% nylon, and it has the same feel to it. Now you can't see through it, it's opaque, but it is light enough to pair with the other skirt so that it's not too heavy and too weighed down. All right, time for me to add the bias tape. Now that I've sewn the 2 skirts individually, I do love a crinoline. Now, I'm not going to put a crinoline on this dress, but I am going to give you a link to how to make a crinoline to fit with any dress. And so, but I'm going to give it the option to have an attached crinoline that you can remove. You can put in the dress and you can take out. So I have taken the bias tape, the length of the waist of the skirt, and I'm going to double it. And I will show you this. I'm going to double it. And I'm going to stitch them together with the bias folds on the inside on only on one side. All right, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to open up the other side fully. And that's going to be kind of like my seam allowance. And this is what I'm going to attach to the inside of the waist. This is going to be solid because it's going to be stitched, and I'm going to press this part of the bias tape open. And then eventually I have this tape with hook and eyes on it, and I'm going to put the eyes, I'm going to sew it along the bottom and secure it so that I can hang a crinoline from it. Okay, so remember to check out that link to the how to create a crinoline for your skirt. So I'll show you how to do this. Oh, these are my Shape of Water glasses. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sew along the side of the two bias binding pieces that we have facing one another. We're going to sew along the edge on one side. Now we're going to open up the other side of the bias binding and press it open. This is what we're going to use to attach to the waistband of the skirt. Now we're going to take our hook and eye strip and we're going to add it to the side that is stitched, making sure that our hooks or our eyes are facing down. Just remember, we're going to be hooking the crinoline onto it. I have sewed it the wrong way before, but don't put them up. It won't work that way. It's best also to use your zipper foot. I bought my tape from Ping's, and I think you can maybe order it online if you can't find it in your local store. Once we've finished our strip, then we'll be able to insert it into the waistband of our skirt. Good job! Now it's time to match up the sides of our skirt. I'm going to pin mine in place to make sure my bias tapes match up. And a few other pins along the way. Now I'm going to stitch the sides of the skirts closed on both edges of the skirt, and I'm going to also include a line of stitch witchery because if you follow my hack on reversibility, I don't want to top stitch the edges of the skirt unless I have to. So if the stitch witchery holds each side to its own side when I sew it and iron it in place and keeps a nice crisp edge, then that'll be enough. All right, so I'll include a card over here about this hack from one of my other videos. Now, after trimming the edge, you're going to very carefully iron your seam in place, and that stitch witchery is gonna anchor the colors on either side of the seam, so you won't get any rolling. If you do get any rolling, then you're probably going to have to top stitch, but I'm hoping for the best. But since they're complementary, there is black and white and stuff like that in this floral print, I would most likely top stitch with a black thread. Now, I've had a few people ask me where I got my pin cushion, and it's on the Gertie, the Charms Patterns website. It's a Gertie product. I think they come from France. Now at this time, if you have decided to add the crinoline attachment to the waistband of your skirt, you are going to attach it to one side of the skirt, not both. One side. It does not matter which side you choose, because the hooks will be inside of the skirt garment, and you'll be able to attach your crinoline. All right, so I'm going to attach this crinoline attachment to the waistband on, in this case for me, on the black side of the garment, all the way around. I am going to only stitch about maybe 1/8 of the way in, because when I turn the skirt inside out, I'm going to go ahead to, the last step is to attach the waistband. Just a note, make sure your pockets are facing forward. Now, the reality of sewing, even though I measured this in the stretch of the waistband, I'm short. So I'm going to make about a 2 or 3 inch piece of my crinoline addition and place it here to make up for the difference. Disclosure, still have enough. Now, the reason I showed that mistake is, or not mistake, or it's just not the right adjustment, is that when you are hacking a pattern or making something off the fly, sometimes things don't work out exactly the way you want. It's very easy to fix, but when you're a young sewer or inexperienced sewer, you can get frustrated, but that's okay. I've been sewing for like 50 years and I still make these kind of adjustments. What I think happened is I did not stay stitch the waist edge of that circular skirt. So of course there was growth. So if I had stay stitched it, the measurement I took would probably still be there. That's why there is about 2 to 3 inches of growth. All right, so I'm gonna fix that and we're gonna get right about our business. Now the only thing I have left to do at this stage is going to be pressing the sides in place and attaching the waistband. Now, I'm not going to mind if when I press it in place, if it doesn't hold one side to one side, one color to one side and the print to the other side. If that happens, I don't mind top stitching because there is the common color of black in the print. But what I could have also have done if it didn't work out for me is I could have understitched on the black side to hold it to one place. So we'll see how the pressing works out, and then I'll make the decision. Okay, so now of course for the waistband, you're going to need a two-sided waistband because it's going to need to be one color on one side and one on the other. So I have stitched mine together. I have understitched it because I don't think on a waistband, I don't think that stitch witchery will do the job. So I'm gonna iron this, and then I'm gonna add my waistband. And then except for the catch for the waist, we're done. Now this is quite a lot of skirt now, now that they're attached. All right, so I'm gonna take the pins out. Make sure that there are no places that don't line up because it's quite a few levels. It's the print, it's the black. Also, I have that crinoline hack in the center of it also. So I'm just gonna check along the seam lines and make sure that everything has been caught in this initial stitch. See, these are the kind of things that can happen with so many layers. I missed between two pins. All right, so I'm gonna take this out, sew it again, and we'll be on our way. All good. Now, one of the best parts about a reversible garment is the surprise of the other side. Now, you don't want your sides to roll over and reveal what's on the other side. So one of the hacks that I do is as I sew it, I include a band of stitch witchery on the seam, and when I press it, it solidifies what side is what. So I can't, let me see, I'll pull it apart because I can always stitch it back. So within this seam is a layer of stitch witchery. All right, so the first couple of times you do this, you might panic. Am I really lining up the edge so that it's perfect? As you can see, it's not perfect here, but it doesn't bother it because it's black and it doesn't show. The other side can accommodate the black. But if it was too really opposite colors, you'd have to be very careful, but you can always pull it apart and iron it again. But I iron it after I've stitched and trimmed, and that way it doesn't roll. As you can see, the red stays on the red side, the black stays on the black side. Okay, I've attached the waistband, and I'm going to go back and by hand attach the black waistband to the skirt. I'm gonna stitch it. I thought I could stitch it in the ditch, but I don't want to take the chance. So I'm gonna watch a movie and stitch it, but here's the skirt. I will model it for you, but I have a few other things that I'm going to do reversible with this fabric. Now, my last choice was my closing. I decided since I was not doing a tie, I was going to do a button clothing. So that you just have to kind of reverse engineer it if you're getting confused. This button coordinates with this fabric because it's going to be seen when you button it with the other side. Okay? All right, so then on the other side, I have stitched a black button that you will see when it is closed from the other side, and your yellow button will be secured the other way. Now, I'm an apple shape, so I find a lot of times skirts and pants and everything my waist is not in proportion to the rest of me. So very often I have very little space between my rib cage and my hip bones. So I tend to have to allow more space on a skirt or something to accommodate my waist. So, as you know, sometimes your waist goes up and down. So I chose with a tie, you can adjust, but I wanted a button this time. And so I can move these buttons either way, depending upon how my waist is going at that particular month, if I should need to change it. Now, another thing I included were these snaps along the edge, and that was just for modesty in case a really great wind comes along and blows your skirt open. These little snaps will keep it in place. I hope that that worked out really well for you and that you were able to reverse your wrap skirt if you're choosing to do one. If you just wanted to see how it was done, you were welcome to come along for that ride. Now, in a spirit of transparency, which is always my tagline for, let me show you how sometimes it doesn't work out. All right, so sometimes you think your two fabrics are going to work together, or you come up with a great idea for a garment and you make it reversible and it goes wah, 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 wah. Too heavy, doesn't look right. You're just not into it. Okay, so let me show you one of the first things I made that were reversible. It seemed like a really great idea to me. It was a short jean skirt with pleats and these beautiful fabrics from Cloth World. You know, if you're old enough to know that Joann Fabric used to be called Cloth World, you know what I'm talking about. It was this beautiful fabric. I was gonna fringe the bottom. It's made out of denim. It's so cute that they sold it in yellow. They also sold it in pink, but I missed out on the pink. So I originally made these as a reversible skirt. I thought it would be so cool. I would just change the t-shirts and the tops. It was real cute on me. Those two denim pieces together were like carrying a truck around all day. They were not light like denim. They did not move the way I wanted to them, so it didn't work out. So guess what I did? I just separated them. That's the great thing about reversibility. You're making two garments. If you put them together and it does not work for you, it did not groove, separate them. Put the facings in, put whatever it is in that you needed, take them apart, and now you have two garments. So now I have two jean skirts. So what's the harm? You might as well try the reversibility. All right, I hope you're having a good time. Keep making with joy. We'll see you in the next video.